had to haul ass downstairs to get my hat.
I saw your face in the green room like, Barry, you piece of shit.
I had a tear form. I started like crying a little bit. I was like, I do look like a dumpster fire.
You look like you tried to put your hair up in a tornado. What is going on with your hair right now?
It's just, I don't know. And I just gave up on it. Like,
don't take it. That was petty. You took it out? Really? That's bullshit.
Don't listen to Billy. Don't let him mansplain how to do your hair. Come on, Meg. It's 2020. You strong, independent woman. You don't need no man.
I need no.
Right. Even I don't think that's right.
It's been what, 2 weeks? 2 weeks since the three of us have been on here together?
No, it's been longer than that. So last week
we took that week off. We took the week off.
We didn't do an episode Thursday. I was sick the Monday, and then Thursday prior was the ladies' takeover, and I was in Tampa at a wedding, and then that Monday. So it's been like 2 weeks.
That was a good episode too. Well, everyone, thank you for joining the Liberty Risk Podcast. I'm Billy,
and I'm Hugh.
And I'm Meg, the dumpster fire.
Speaking of dumpster fires,
you were a dumpster fire. Said your hair.
Speaking of dumpster fires, have you seen Match.com's new commercial with Satan in 2020?
Oh my God! Tell me that's not the greatest thing in the world.
Thing I've seen. I've seen some travesty things this year, and I think that makes the list of the top 10 funniest things. All 2020, and she's pretty attractive too. They could have gone like far left and just made her just this terrible looking person. Like, and then it says like make 2021 your year. It's like 2020 goes up in smoke. And it's fantastic. I talk to people. Some people are like, I didn't think it's that great, and I'm like, that's perfect advertising. That's taking the best out of a terrible situation.
It was great. It was great. I loved when they're looking at the bridge and there's just hellfire and brimstone coming from the sky. I'm just like,
who would? That's great stuff.
Oh my God, it's so great. I guess there was it plenty of fishes out doing them or whatever. So they had to get creative.
Apparently Match Group is it's like Match, Plenty of Fish, Tinder, Bumble, and like 2 other ones. So it doesn't matter which one outdoes the other; they still make money.
Sons of bitches! Yeah. They monopolize the online dating scene.
Well, they're making money off of me because I'm still trying to date.
Oh, no one talks to me. I always swipe right. I swipe right every time.
You laugh.
Nobody ever talks to me.
A buddy of mine, before he met his, I think they're still together. I should probably check. But anyways, before he met the last girl, he used to wake up and just so I don't know if girls know this, but I don't know if other dudes do this, but I know I do this. I roll out of bed first thing in the morning and I go pee. And I'm lazy, so I sit because I'm super fucking lazy. I hate standing.
What the fuck?
Well, that night I don't want to clean up my bathroom very often.
Your man card is gone.
No, bro, it's just a laziness. And I got one of those little body.
No, hold up.
Honestly, not surprised at all.
This is very. Oh yeah. Remember, it's all about effectiveness, Billy. It's about effectiveness.
No, bro, seriously, you just fucked my whole. You just fucked my whole day up,
bro. You're not out in public. If you're at your own throne, yourself.
Your own throne.
Yeah, I mean, I call it a squat and surf because I got my phone and I'm like, updating my games and whatnot.
I'm questioning so much with you right now. It's really bothering me.
I'm not going to drop in the toilet. I blocked the hole.
I blocked the hole.
Meg stands with a shiwi. So my buddy used to wake up in the morning. We'd go pee, and he used to sit and which is made me think about it. So he would sit and he would just be like,
I do know guys do that.
Well, his thing was, it's not up to him if they go on a date. It's up to her. So he would let them message him back, and then he would decide if they were worth going on a date or not.
Interesting.
There's nothing you could fucking do to justify what the fuck you just said about a minute ago. I'm so fucked up for the fact that I heard out of one of my best friend's mouth. Bro. And when I wake up in the morning, I go and sit down and pee. What the fuck just happened?
I got a squatty potty with little foot rollers on the end too.
I hate you so much to another, like a new level of hate.
It's got a little holder for your phone on the side, which is weird because it's right next to the sink, but whatever.
Does it really? I never noticed that.
Yeah. It's comfy, man. Gets the knees up, like increases the flow. Like we can make fun of the Afghans all we want to for the way that they shit in those holes in the ground, but
Here comes ego boosting.
Thank you. You don't have to lie to me. It's okay.
Meg doesn't put the seat down, and she just looks
God.
She does a spray and pray too. You have to wash the little mat in front of your toilet because Meg is just a loose cannon.
Oh my God! What are we talking about? Like,
I have 2 brothers and my dad, and every summer I would spend 6 weeks at my dad's house, and my brothers would never put the seat down. So in the middle of the night, as a little girl, when I would have to go to the bathroom, I'd be like, go to sit down, pop a squat, and the seat's up. Every single time I would fall in the damn toilet, and I would go all the way in because I was so tiny.
That's great.
I've had that happen on many, many occasions.
That's
Matt. My brothers for that.
Matt is so.
I have peed in the urinal before.
Matt's on it tonight. That's pretty fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
Honestly, I've seen girls get on top of sinks and then squat and pee into sinks before.
Okay. What the fuck are we talking
about? Mayport was just a weird place for you, wasn't it?
This is just.
Yeah, I mean, like, I went to Pensacola as well, so.
Oh, what a trash heap!
I've seen
right?
weird things in bathrooms.
People are like, "Oh my God, the storm destroyed Pensacola." I'm like, "It's about fucking time, honestly."
Yeah, it's like when people tell me they're like, "I was in Pascagoula, Mississippi." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool."
Every time I go to the golf course,
no, it's not.
People that know, they're like, "Oh, sorry, bro." I'm like, "Yeah, I got to get my shots beforehand too."
Oh God, it's so bad.
I love whenever a storm rolls through Pensacola and people are like, the government lost so much money. I'm like, you know what? It's better to lose money from a storm than the number of sailors or Marines that have to go to medical for fucking shots because of a 96-hour Liberty.
Yeah.
You know what? More people there have to go to medical for sunburns than anything.
I believe that. That's what I always laugh too, because they're like, "Oh man, they gave me a captain's mask for getting a sunburn." I'm like, "Yeah, bitch, you're government property. You got to know your worth. Your worth is captain's mask and half month's pay times 2."
Oh, we had one of those, and I was a bailiff for one of those. And this kid came in his dress whites, and he was like walking like this, right? And the CMC went up behind him, and he goes, "How's it going, shipmate?" He was like, "Ah." He's like, "Ah." He starts crying. It was fucking great.
My God.
I went to A school with we shared a class with the Army, and one of these guys got sunburned so bad that he was starting to peel a little bit. And the Army straight up told him, they're like, "You can go to class, or you can go see the CO. It's up to you." And so he went to class, framed walls, laid block, did the whole 9 yards. Like, had to layer up in petroleum jelly before putting his uniform on. Otherwise, it was just like rubbing all day. So much pain for 2 weeks. But it was like that or an Article 15. And frankly, I would have taken the Article 15. Like, knock me back 2 weeks. Really? I don't care. Yeah, like, it's just like when junior sailors are like, "I don't know where my eval is in the first 2 years." Don't worry. You didn't do shit the first 2 years. When you go up for chief, nobody's looking back that far. Don't worry about it. An Article 15, my first year in for a sunburn. No, if you go up for chief, sergeant first class, chief master sergeant, nobody's looking back like, "Oh, all right, this piece of shit got Article 15 for a sunburn. Motherfucker can't be in charge of people." Nobody fucking cares. Take the Article 15. Get yourself some rest, dumbass. Just learn from it.
Oh my God, that's true. So we got some awesome guests.
Terrible segue. I really wish I had ended on a higher note.
No, that was your choice, and now we all have to live with it because this is on the fucking internet, and everyone gets to watch it for eternity. So that's on you, Hugh.
And we don't have the money to take it off the internet either. So
no, we definitely don't. We definitely don't. Like, it's just I don't have that Jeff Bezos money, and nor will I ever have that Jeff Bezos money to do something like that.
We haven't started our OnlyFans yet, so
well. Come on, dude. Like, who doesn't want to see 360 pounds of love get on OnlyFans? Come on.
Holidays are coming up, man. You got to buy them gifts.
Yeah, that's right.
Are you going to have that 70s style, like, pizza porn video that goes on with your weird stash?
If by pizza porn video you mean you can watch me sit around and eat pizza and play Zelda, then yeah.
Play Zelda.
Exactly. That's it.
There's a Zelda reference.
Yeah. Breath of the Wild 2 just came out, man. That's what I'm getting myself for Christmas.
Is it the original? Is it the original gold cartridge?
I beat the original one on my Switch, but now I'm getting Breath of the Wild 2. I'm a cheat.
Oh, you finally beat it, little bitch.
Wow. Unnecessary. All right, but like Billy did say, we do have a we have a very important guest tonight. For those of you who have not been watching, shame on you. But for those of you who have, you know that we talk a lot about mental health. We talk about the stigmas behind going and getting treatment for mental health and having suicidal tendencies. And we talk a lot about having terrible supervisors and terrible leadership, and our sailors and our service members not being looked out for by their leadership. So today, we've been very fortunate to have our guests from an organization called Hicks Strong. Their website is hicksstrong.org. Billy's got it down there on the bottom. A little synopsis, because we want to talk a lot about the organization. And frankly, I would imagine that after talking about this a myriad of times, that it gets harder and harder. So you go onto the website, you read their story. Their son, McCoy Hicks, he joined the Navy when he was 18 years old and was stationed at DC. And he was on the ceremonial guard at Arlington. And for those of you that don't know, Arlington National Cemetery has about 25 funerals a day on average. So if you're out there and you're on the funeral detail, I would imagine that on average you're doing 6 to 8 funerals a day, which obviously is going to have an effect on anybody's mental health, regardless of your age, because you're burying anybody between 17 who just joined and, as at retirement age. Airman Hicks, he joined as an ABH, aviation bosun's mate handler. Is that correct, Meg? Is that how you say that correctly? Thank you.
Aviation bosun's mate.
Thank you. So after time at Arlington, he went to A school where he got his rate, and then he went out to Washington State, was stationed on one of the boats out there, and had some trouble with his supervisors, as many of us probably have at one point or another. However, he told his supervisors and his leadership that he was having trouble and he needed some assistance. They decided that that was not the case, and he was making it up, and it wasn't as serious.
So, for lack of better words, they screwed the pooch.
Yes, and Airman Hicks was transferred to another location, and unfortunately his parents got a phone call that he had taken his own life, which is, I couldn't even imagine having to get that phone call. When I was reading the articles after they had agreed, I'm very excited for them to be here, but after reading a lot of the information, I couldn't help but be reminded of another petty officer who is stationed down in Jacksonville for a little bit, Brandon Caserta, who, for those of you who might not remember, in 2018, after telling his command that he was being bullied and he was depressed and suicidal and them not taking care of him, threw himself into the tailprop on a helicopter as it was running at Naval Station Norfolk. So these are obviously not isolated incidents. They're not one-offs. The military is clearly, well, they try to say that they're doing more. They try to say they're getting better. And while I do believe the VA is adding more mental health counselors and they are taking it more seriously, the military, of course, they consider us expendable. And when they weigh, I personally think that maybe they weigh the cost of replacing all those leaders with the cost of an individual, which is a terrible, terrible thing for an organization to do. I personally believe that his case was mishandled by his command. I'm sure that they protected the leadership. I'm sure they protected his chain of command as opposed to taking care of him. His parents and his younger sister have been very gracious to join us tonight to tell us about their experiences regarding it and how they have grown not only as a family, but started this amazing organization that connects military service members to counselors and therapists to deal with mental health outside of the service members' command. So, Billy, if you wouldn't mind, please bringing them in for us. Excuse me. Good evening, guys. How are you?
Good evening. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. We're so happy you guys could be here.
This is a great podcast.
Oh, thank you, Michael. I appreciate that.
We appreciate it very much. We do our best to try to keep things as lively and real as possible, which is, of course, why I stammer and drink, because I need that liquid courage. Sienna, you're not old enough to hear that kind of stuff. I really hope you won't rewatch
Earmuffs. Sienna, earmuffs.
Michael and Jolee, thank you so much for being here. Sienna, we understand that this is probably a little bit this is pretty difficult for you. You're 20 years old, is that correct?
Yeah.
So at the time when your brother passed away, This was last year. Were you 19?
I was 18.
18, excuse me. But you're in college currently, correct?
Yes.
Were you? All right. So because I went to a military high school, I'm not sure what age people are supposed to graduate. Were you in high school when it happened?
No, I was already in college.
Right.
I had graduated half a year early, but from high school.
I'm really tired of having guests on that are younger and also smarter than me, Billy.
Okay,
everyone's smarter than you.
Shut up, Meg. Sienna, I have a couple other friends of mine who have been in similar situations, but were significantly younger than you are. Would you be comfortable telling us from when it happened to at the start of your fall semester how you were affected in college?
So I had already finished my fall semester. I was in my spring semester at that point. And I had to just withdraw. And I kind of took that as like a failure, but like I'm working on now, like not thinking of it that way because, I mean, obviously under the circumstances. So I had to withdraw and I don't remember too much, to be honest. But it
was your university pretty understanding? Did they offer like any help or assistance as far as not with withdrawal? Because obviously I think February is close to the deadline for withdrawing, but did they offer you any like counseling and help and assistance with dealing with it?
No, not necessarily. I have like one person that has been like really helpful for me throughout the whole thing. And he actually helped me get into a different college when I tried to go to college again, but ended up not working. But and then he helped me get back to the school that I was originally at. So I did have one person, but
that's good. I obviously, I mean, now it's important to have it at the very least one person who's consistently with you. Meg's had a terrible time at college with the VA, so we will have her reach out to your college and scold them harshly for not offering you the kind of assistance that we all think that they should at least offer you. I'm just kidding. We don't have enough phone numbers to make that happen. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring a little brevity to the situation so it's not so stoic and down. That's awesome though that you're back in school. I mean, obviously this year has been kind of a shit show and a wash.
Yeah, thanks 2020. You fucking asshole.
Yeah. So, Sienna, what do you go to school for, by the way?
Currently I am taking political science.
Jesus Christ.
Oh God, it hurts inside. Inside, Sienna. God dang it,
I'm happy for her. I'm tired of meeting people that are smarter than me.
Sienna, please don't talk about shit I have no clue about, please. Yeah. Oh God.
Well, Sienna, I will tell you, I am a criminal justice major, and I love that you're doing political science. What are you planning on doing with your political science major there?
I've kind of put the weight of the world on my shoulders a little bit because I'm like, I'm gonna fix everything, but I know I can't do that. So right now I'm in political science, but I'm not entirely sure what that'll lead to because it's possible that I might study law. It's possible that I might study criminal justice. Like I haven't found out my direct path yet, but I know it's somewhere that's going to make the most difference in the most positive way of change.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome. And I learned one thing is don't put too much pressure on yourself. You're still young. You know, afford yourself that time to figure it out. Don't try to rush through it. And mom and dad, don't kill me when I say this, but it drives me nuts that society puts like, okay, at 18, you got to graduate high school. 22, you got to graduate college. And you need to do this by these certain dates or you're a failure. Just go with the flow and just do what's best for you. But that's awesome. I'm glad you're back in school. And
and I haven't had a chance to ask anyone this question. I hope you'll forgive me. You went back to the school in the fall of 2019, correct? Or did you take the rest of the year off?
I went to a different school in fall of 2019.
So you went to school in the fall of 2019 in person, and then 2020 came around and said, nobody cares about your plans.
Facts.
Yeah, right. Given what you had only very recently went through, did you find it easier to transition online as opposed to having to go to school? And the reason I ask is, as veterans, we of course hate going out in public. We don't really care for people or their opinions or their dogs or their kids. So like when a lot of us switched to online, we were like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
You get a Zoom call and a t-shirt. That's the extent of my effort. But a lot of other people, they enjoy going to school. And we understand that switching can be pretty difficult, but you didn't switch online you switched online for the same reasons as the rest of us, but there was an added stressor on your end, especially going back to school in the fall, even though it was a different school. It's not the same experience. Were you kind of relieved to be able to just roll over, open your laptop, and be like, all right, I'm here for English?
Yeah, I definitely, I think I like online better, to be honest. I like remote versus like fully online because there's still like that class. But when I had gone in the fall of 2019, I was going to be a vet, like a veterinarian, and it didn't work out. So I had already withdrawn from that semester prior to COVID happening. And I was kind of like, I don't know what to do. And then over the course of quarantine and everything, George Floyd happened and all sorts of other names, Breonna Taylor. I can't say them all because there's way too many. And it just it hurt. And I didn't want anybody else to have to deal with that. So I wanted to see what I could do to help the injustices in America and help the minorities, the people of color, the LGBT community, which I'm a part of, all of these marginalized communities that need help. I want to be able to help them.
Very cool. That's Good awesome. For you.
That is awesome. Good for you, Sienna.
She's already a significantly better person than I am, and she can't even drink it.
I'm doing a huge moral check after this, Sienna. Thank you so much.
Sienna, a really good school you should check out that is super supportive of its veterans and has a great legal program and also has a great.
It's not your school.
No, not my school. Different programs for political science is Syracuse University, and I know that's not too far off from Albany. I actually was looking into going there for law school and also I'm hoping to get my master's in national security and counterintelligence.
Syracuse, give us free stuff.
Yeah. We also have a really, really good friend. Her name is Danique. She went there for her master's, and she goes and she helps to lobby for different veterans issues up on Capitol Hill. So it's definitely a really good school, and it will give you kind of that guidance and push to do what you want to do in whatever avenue you want to do it in. And I think that with that veterans organization there, you would definitely find some support as well.
Absolutely.
If you're missing some part of your family while you're away from home.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I'll have to look into it.
So, Mr. and Mrs. Hicks, I hope I didn't do a terrible job kind of summarizing your situation regarding your son. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we talk about your guys' company? I want to give you guys your due diligence, and as your son, you should be allowed to talk about him in any way that you want to.
Yeah. So, as far as McCoy goes, I guess I'll shed a little bit of light on his personality. He was the guy that you would see walking on the side of the street in a banana suit, straight up. We got a call from one of our pastors, and they're like, "Hey, I think I saw McCoy in a banana suit." That was his personality. He just would make people laugh, do stupid stuff. He was always the kid that when everybody else wouldn't do something, they try to ask some kid to do it and see if they can convince him to do it. But he would be like, "Sure, let's do it." And
there's
make
no
a
convincing needed.
Complete ass out of himself, just at his own expense to make other people happy.
I can see that because I wanted to ask you guys about something before we get too deep in the weeds. I watched your video on your homepage, and I even made a note of where it was. It's at the scroll bar, the 4-minute and 35-second mark. He's in his peanut butter uniform. He's missing a ribbon. and it kind of looks like he's at a moderately important engagement.
Oh, I think I know.
It scrolled by, and I was like, wait a minute, hold on, and I rolled back, and I was like, huh.
Yeah, actually, I think in that day, it was off, and he was like, "Oh, I can't get to the PX," and he was well, that was when we were in the ceremonial guard. So like, there's the rigorous and like strict meticulousness that you have to like do to pass through.
I saw that photo and I was like, that's a motherfucker who said, gonna have to power through. I got where's the ribbon? I don't know. Can you go get another one? Couldn't. Wait, you're here. You said to be here. What do you want?
Yep. Yeah. So
that's kind of person I would want on my team.
So that was his thing, man. He always loved to make people laugh. It didn't matter what. He didn't like when someone was getting taken advantage of, like he knew that they didn't do something wrong, but they were getting somehow punished for it. Like he couldn't stand that.
Sure.
He always wanted to stick up for someone that was being mistreated, if you will, for some reason or another. Another big thing, he absolutely adored and loved his sister. They were the closest best friends that they could have been.
There are a lot of photos in the videos on your website of Sienna, you and McCoy when you guys were younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't relate. Meg's got like 7 siblings. Billy's got 13 being Italian. I have just the two that I have the two that I don't really talk to that much. So it's nice when people are always able to say like that you were actually close and you can prove it, because a lot of people make these claims and then later they'll be like, no, screw that motherfucker. But there's proof in the pudding. Like there's a lot of photos of you two when you were younger, and it's clear that you guys were really close.
It's really awesome to see.
But well into adulthood as well, and not just because your parents made you play outside together.
Yeah.
They actually got along.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
So, Mr. and Mrs. Hicks, you were already in Washington. You were scheduled to be in Washington already when you got the phone call. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, she was stationed out in Bremerton on the Nimitz, and my company, I do audio video integrations, and they flew us out to visit him, but also to get the work done. And the night before, we got a call. We were at a Bible study, and he called us and told us that his command essentially told him he wasn't allowed to see us, and we were booked to fly out the next day. And so he lost his shit and cursed them out, and they put him in the brig for 25 days. So that's
it.
Yeah, and they were gonna discharge him after that.
Oh my God!
You need a minute? You can take a minute.
I told motherfuckers to eat a big bag of AIDS-covered dicks and only got a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I've told my chiefs that I will literally take a shit on their desk before.
That's insane.
Apparently, I'm not sure why exactly, but
some of these people just get it in their head that they don't. I've said this about civilian life, I've said this about civilian life, and the same is true for the military. Some of these motherfuckers don't know their place.
Yeah.
And some of them throw their weight around, and it's a damn shame, because we tell our junior troops, you need to respect the rank and the person and we neglect to tell them, like, hey, listen, if somebody's wrong, they're wrong. And we don't teach people to read instructions and manuals, and people who like McCoy's supervisors eventually get to that position where they can manipulate the truth. And commands don't want a black spot, so they say, well, we're going to bat the supervisor, and then something like this happens. So I assume they're shitting bricks right now, realizing that they made a big mistake. And but that seems really extreme.
Yeah, so
all of us to be like, oh, we're going to throw you in the brig and kick you out because you yelled at somebody. Like,
yeah. And it just turns out that when he was in Washington D.C., he had gotten a TBI from one of his leaves where he flipped over the handlebars and hit his head.
Ooh.
And we believe that TBI triggered a bunch of issues, anger, other underlying issues.
Very, very, very possible.
That likely added up to whatever decision they decided to make. So, but aside from that, so we flew out anyway, and we hit the ground and apparently brought 12 inches of snow from New York, and they didn't know what to do. We saw people shoveling with plywood and cars sliding all over the place. We're like, what are you doing? This is like a dust. What is
They're not
this?
all 10s out there.
Michael, like, because I told you I was from New York also, but when it snows down here in North Carolina, I'll send you some amusing videos from my cell phone that you will thoroughly enjoy.
I guess we would have expected that though, but like Washington State, we didn't expect that. I guess because they're like kind of even with New York, right? So, but we were wrong.
My dad was stationed in Bremerton for most of the 90s, and we lived in Bremerton, and it's like 13 feet above sea level. And I remember thinking back, like, we didn't get a lot of snow, and I had to have somebody explain to me about snow versus sea level. I still don't understand it, but they at least made the attempt. But rolling with 12 inches in Bremerton and Lewis McCord, I used to drill at Lewis McCord a while back, and that's a heck of a snowstorm for that area.
Yep.
Yeah, it shut down everything for almost a week.
Oh, so a small spit in the road will shut down I-5.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Michael. You were saying.
No, sorry. Yeah, no worries. So we landed and immediately just started making calls to find out how we can get to them. It just so happens that I picked a base that was or picked a hotel that was between what I thought where he was in Bremerton and where the work was, and turns out we were 16 miles away from him at the brig, and
which is at the McCord.
JBLM.
And so we tried making phone calls to the base and couldn't get anybody. Likely the snow was the reason. And then Monday we got through to somebody, and we thought we were getting somewhere, and so they told us to wait, and so we were waiting, and around 6:30 we got a call from the chaplain and the Keiko out in Bremerton to tell us that they found McCoy in his cell.
Do you think that they had known for some time?
They did. Since 6:30 a.m.
6 a.m.
And they didn't call us until 6 p.m.
West Coast time.
Well,
right.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine.
And they knew we were there.
Yeah, that was I can't even describe it. A nuke went off and just leveled everything.
Well, so Sienna was still here in New York because she was in college and it wasn't online at the time. So she was here in New York. Michael and I went out, and when we got that phone call, we thought we had finally reached someone that was going to allow us to see him at the brig. So we were really excited. They were like, Mr. and Mrs. Hicks. We were like, yes. Like we got to the right person, right? And they're like, well, you're here in Washington, right? And we're like, yes, and still all excited. And they said, well, your son was found dead this morning. And we were like,
this motherfucker.
Yeah, like our whole world.
No, I don't say pretty much. The off switch, it just went off. Like
it changes you. Those phone calls are not regular phone calls. For them, they're regular to make. It's one thing to be on the receiving end, and I imagine it would have been different if you were at home. I assume somebody would have flown out to you.
Mm-hmm.
My brother and sister flew out to us. We originally said no, because Mike and I are high school sweethearts, and we've grown together. We've done everything together. We were like, oh, we got this. Thank God they didn't listen to us, and they flew out.
Well, excuse me. What I should have been more clear. I know that in cases when service members pass away overseas, The military flies to their family and meets them at their house to explain the situation. So I would like to think, because I don't have a lot of experience or know a lot of people who've shared a situation like yours, I assume the military might have flown to your house, or a representative from your area, a naval representative would have come to you and not just made a phone call.
Yeah. And they would have done the same thing in Washington, but
if you live there, sure. So
no, the snowstorm. They knew where we were. They knew all that. It was the snowstorm. It was Monday.
That's a shit call for them to decide. Oh, we'll tell them over the phone instead of consoling them in person.
Right. Which, people have an issue with. Like, every time we tell the story, they're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they came to you." And I get that, but I don't know if it would have been any better if they did come to us.
No, it wouldn't. Like, there's a decency involved with telling somebody to their face.
Yeah.
And when you hear that over the phone,
it was very confusing.
Yeah, it's not a call that they should have made unless they had made the attempt to see you face to face, and especially because they knew where motherfucker stationed in Washington. He or she can drive in the snow.
Yeah. They said that they couldn't get over a bridge or something, but they could have sent the army from. It doesn't matter. It really. Yeah.
It wouldn't have made the situation any better regardless. It just sucks that you have to get that phone call. That call over the phone. God damn it.
And then we had to call Sienna.
I'm getting drunk tonight. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And then we had to call.
Oh my God. What were you doing? I swear to God, if you say you were drinking while your parents were out of town.
No,
I don't want that responsibility.
I am not a fan of alcohol. No,
that's the smartest thing to say on live camera. Sienna.
Well
played.
True.
Don't be like us.
Yeah.
Well, I was laying on the couch watching TV, and I was like, the house was a mess.
10:30.
Yeah, it was like 9:30, 10:30 at night. And I was watching TV, and the house was a mess because I was like, I got a whole week. I can wait and clean it the day before they get back.
Sure, naturally.
And then I heard a knock at the door, and I was like, who is here at night while I'm home alone? Like, I was freaking out a little bit. I looked out the window. I'm like, wait, why are they here? And it was the Halls, our very close family friends. And I opened up the door a little bit because I didn't have pants on. But anyway, so I had opened the door, and I was like, what are you guys doing here? Like, what's going on? Who died? And like, then they were like, oh, just let us in. And I'm like, give me a second. So I had to put pants on and clean up slightly. And then they came in, and they were like, your parents want to talk to you. And I'm like, why would they call your phone? And then they told me, and
bet you wish you hadn't asked who died, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were on the phone, so she didn't know we were on the phone, but we could hear her. We could hear them going in. We could hear her saying, what are you doing? Being
throwing away the pizza, hiding the vodka.
Yeah. And then when she said who died, we heard that, and we were just like,
yeah. I couldn't. Jesus.
I mean, obviously you didn't know, Sienna, so it's like I'm sure you're like kick yourself when you think of it, but don't that comment. Like, I'm just me personally.
We make it all the time. I've been deployed.
Don't beat yourself up. Yeah, don't beat yourself up over it. Please don't beat yourself up over that.
I've been in the Middle East 4 times, and every time somebody walks into the office and says, "We need to talk," it's the first question out of my mouth, like every single time without skipping a beat. And then like the very few times that I probably should have held my tongue, I'm like, all right, well, let's take a breather. Let's fix that somehow. It's nobody's expecting to hear that. No, you can't hold that against me.
I actually used to say that like all the time because like my biggest fear was losing family. Mm-hmm. And like when mom and dad's energy was like off, I could feel it. And I'm like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on every time, and I still do it. And so like I could tell something was off, and I was like, what's going on? So like I've always done that. Like I've always had this like fear of losing my family, and like
it's rough. It's like
if you're close to your family, it's that I can understand why that'd be your big fear. That's the first thing you want to know is you want to make sure you want to know that the worst thing what you consider to be the worst thing didn't happen.
Yeah.
If you ask and they say nobody, all right, fine, it can't be that bad then. It makes sense. Okay. So all 6 of us aren't crying in unison.
I'm good.
Yeah. Billy, go hug your kids. So this happened in February in 2019. In August, you started Hicks Strong. Not even a year later, which is impressive. There are a lot of people, I think, that spend a lot of time grieving and needing to be consoled before they figure out what it is they're going to do next. But less than a year later, you were already like, nah, ain't nobody got time for all this. We're going to figure this out. How did you get from this is one of the worst days of our lives to here's what we're going to do moving forward in such a short window?
So, Joe, do you want to jump in on this one, or I can?
Yeah, you can correct me if I'm mistaken. So most of 2019 is a fog for us from February 11th on, right? So I don't know if you have the real answer for that or not.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, here's what we do have. I was invited by our church family to like a ceramic shop that was near the house to paint. And it was just probably maybe a month, maybe not even a month after McCoy passed. And because they're like family, I was like, okay, because the 3 of us were not really leaving each other. Once Mike and I got back to got back to New York, the 3 of us really didn't leave each other. Anyway, so I go to paint these ceramic things, and I'm like, this is really therapeutic. This is amazing. So then we got thinking, and I reached out to one of McCoy's shipmates, and I said, what is something every sailor wants or needs? And her response was a hug. So we didn't know how we would mail a hug, or, how would we do that? So we started painting mugs, and we call them hug mugs. I have a ton of them to my left. Hold on.
I just saw them on your webpage too. I'm going to pull them up for you also.
So we started painting those, and yeah, there you go. We started painting those in March, April-ish. I don't even know where I don't even know where my camera is. They're all painted differently. They all have Hicks Strong on them and Hug Mug. But that's how we started. And
Everyone is different?
Every single one.
Every mug is different?
Every mug is different.
That's really awesome.
Cool. Yeah. Here's another one that's next to me.
It was like Christmas.
How did you go from the mugs to
so
the mugs just weren't enough,
so it was, the mugs were really like a therapeutic thing for us to do.
And to give.
So there's a little bit of a gap. I'll let Jolie continue before I preface the gap period between losing McCoy and getting it all started. So we started doing the hug mugs, but then we were like, okay, how do we do this as a business, right? Like, how can we do this to help our military members? So I went on the fast track at that point let's become a nonprofit, because the last thing we want is to make money off of the loss of our son. So the way we structured Hicks Strong is completely volunteer. So there's no salaries for anybody. It's 100% to get back to our our veteran and active duty community. So from between April and August, I went like on the fast track of finding out how to start up a nonprofit. And then sometime in July, between July and August 5th, and that was about a month, I was able to get the nonprofit status done and all of that, get our website set up, get all of that stuff. And then on top of the mugs, one of our really good friends, which we met playing video games, and turns out she was a highly educated counselor that teaches psychology and et cetera, and very well credentialed and licensed. And we were like, hey, could you do some counseling for our military members? And then it spawned the idea of, okay, we could offer counseling services, but not like the counselors are hired by us. We could link military members with counselors we know that'll give us a discount, a military, we call the McCoy Hicks discount for military members, and we would cover the costs. So then we went on the spree of raising funds so that we could cover those counseling sessions, as well as cover making the mugs and getting them out. Because what the mugs really are, they're our way of saying to you, thank you. There are people out there that love you, that care about you and want you to succeed. And Hicks Strong is here to help you if you need it. Because we don't want another family to go through what we went through.
Sure. So
what we're going through, I should say, because
it's still very new.
I just want to pinpoint on that for a second. We, not that we make it look pretty, because we don't, but yes, we started Hicks Strong very quickly after we lost McCoy. And, we have people tell us, like, I was in bed for 2 years. I don't know how you guys are doing what you're doing. We struggle. It is a daily struggle for the three of us. There's not ornaments on this tree. We got a tree up. We have the lights on it.
Baby steps.
Yeah. And I don't know when the three of us will be ready to put ornaments. Is it next year? Is it the following year? I don't really know. And we put our game face on to do things like this and to do events and to help others. But there's a piece of us that is forever missing. And no family should go through this. And you know what? You guys have served our country and shouldn't have
to serve you.
Yeah.
So you guys fast tracked the company, not because you're right. There's some people that say like, I needed like 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. So and we've said it before, like people hurt and heal differently, and you hurt and heal in different paces. But it kind of seems like for you guys, you said we can sit around and wait until we're ready, or we can start now because there are other people who can't wait.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the services so you get military veterans or service members, veterans, Guard and Reserve, active duty, and you pair them up with professionals who can help them. And that's free to the member, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, I'm still in the reserve. I go through these trainings every year, multiple times a year, because nobody tracks it properly. That's a different conversation. But the big thing is I know that if I go see military medicine or somebody and there is a risk that I might hurt myself or someone else, they have to report it to my chain of command. Is there a discussion you have with these professionals about those concerns?
There is. So that is universal, right? If the member is in immediate danger of harming themselves or someone else, no counselor in any part of this country would not reach out to escalate to get help.
Sure.
link to you, right? That said, we follow that rule as well. So our counselors, luckily, our head counselor is married to a retired Coast Guard member, and so she's versed in military background and stuff. Her cousin was a Navy SEAL, so she's very, very versed. She addresses that with the other counselors to let them know, hey, we got to get this information. We have to get an address. There's all this information that needs to be gotten that's kept confidential, even away from us, so that from myself or the three of us on this call. So it's confidential and there's no rules being violated there. That said, we structured this in a way where we're using telehealth so that like someone like yourself, Hugh, that's active, or someone that's active, they don't have to ask for permission to go off base to go talk to a counselor and explain why they're leaving and where are they going and all of this stuff. You can just pick up your phone, connect with your counselor, no matter where you are. So it's meeting you where you are.
Sure.
Right.
Did you, when you started this in 2019, did you know that this is how you wanted to run it, that you wanted to do it remotely? You didn't,
Yeah.
You didn't go look for, okay, well, we need to find people at Hood, at Bragg, at, those are the only two I can think of. Coronado, Port Hueneme, Corpus Christi. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, the terrible ones.
I was like,
did you know that right off the bat you wanted to connect these people remotely so that they didn't need to have somebody near them?
Yes, absolutely. And it was pre-COVID, right? So like we want our military members to be able to access the service, no matter where they are. Like even if they're stationed overseas, technically they're on a base that's technically the United States overseas, right? So no matter where they
own that land, that's our land.
No matter where they are, we want to help and ultimately cut through all the red tape, right? Like we've heard stories of veterans sitting in the parking lot that are told they got to wait 2 months to talk to a counselor and take their lives. Like, that kind of stuff, that red tape shouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, the VA, we did episodes on it where it was like the first 5 months of the year. It was like one veteran every month it was a news story in a parking lot in front of the VA saying they either had to wait for help or they couldn't help them today. And then unfortunately
it felt like Arizona was trying to set records.
It was horrible.
Terrible.
I just we don't understand how when someone comes in and says, I need help, first of all, how much it takes to even get to that point to ask for help. Right? Because it takes so much to even get there, and now they've gotten there and they're turned away. It's insane.
You're right. You're right. And I think Billy and Meg can corroborate. There is a stigma with asking for help regarding mental health. That's not a secret. And there are personnel out there who say one thing that is contrary to Navy doctrine, that our young troops don't go. I say Navy doctrine, military doctrine, that our young troops don't know about. You will not lose your security clearance if you ask for help. You will not lose your rank if you ask for help. And I understand. The three of us empathize with these people because
that's what they're told.
Yes, we believe the unfortunate reality is that after the war, the shitty people who should have gotten out stayed in, and now they're in charge, and they were never qualified to be there, so they don't really know what to tell people. So what we hear is you need to be ready, because above all, the military's goal is to be deployment and combat ready, and that means not only physically but mentally. And so the fear is that if you're not if you need any kind of mental assistance, regardless of how small it is, we are concerned that our leadership is going to hold that against us. And I understand why they feel that way. Bye, Billy. I understand that's why they feel that way, but that's not true. That's not the case. And we all know that that's not the case. And the military has done, I think we all agree they've not done enough, but they have, the least they have done is to say, if you need help, go ask. You are not supposed to have that held against you. And now the next fight is responsible.
What's crazy is how often we hear still that I'm afraid I'm going to lose my rank. I'm afraid they're going to take my weapon. I'm afraid, like, and here's the thing.
Yeah, it's when we were talking in the green room, the rate I was law enforcement. So what do law enforcement do? What do you carry every day? You carry a gun, right?
Yeah.
So that's the reason, and I've said this on past episodes just real quick, but that's the reason I finally got fed up to the point where I checked myself into a civilian facility for 30 days for inpatient treatment.
Wow. Good for you.
Because I couldn't take it anymore. And I finally just said, I don't like to say it, but I was like, fuck the Navy. It's not worth it at this point. You know, that was 15 years compounded of when I joined, it was just before 9/11. So my whole career was 1 year of no war, and then war for the next 14 years.
You needed to be ready. You needed to be prepped. You needed to be strapped. You needed to be 100%.
Yeah, so
at all times. It's a high tempo.
That's the stigmas, especially with, you know, anyone in the service, because you carry a firearm.
Yeah.
Whether you're standing watch on a ship, standing watch at a gate, whether you do what I did, whether you're a special operator, at some point in your career, you're going to be asked to carry a firearm to stand watch. And that's one of the biggest fear points is, well, if I can't do that, then I can't be on the ship. And then what happens next? And okay, you went through it. I'll just deal with this. And then it turns into this horrible compounded issue.
And here's the thing.
And we've had so many people that just need to talk to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some people, that's all they need. They just need to get it out.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, think about it. Like, you have a military member that realistically, they need a skill set. They need a tool set that they can manage what they're going through. Let's say they might feel a little depressed. They haven't been home. They're missing their families. They've been on the ship for 6 to 9 months, or something to that effect. All the difference between that person snapping and the difference between that person making it through is their ability to release the pressure, right? Like, take some of the pressure off.
That mental pressure. Yeah.
And let it out. Like someone that you can talk to confidentially, and you're not gonna, get in trouble to as long as you're not in danger of harming yourself or someone else. You could let that valve open from time to time, and you could end up with an exceptional soldier, sailor, or airman. I mean, because now they have the tool sets to manage it effectively. And
how many professionals do you guys have ready to go?
We have currently 4 counselors in our roster that are available and ready.
Wow.
We take cases. We're luckily all the marketing stuff that I'm doing is working, and we're getting out there, and people are finding us, and so we're getting organic requests via the web as well.
People who want to help
that need
help.
too.
I wanna make a point because we're running into this often. We are not a crisis
center. We're a crisis call center, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a higher level of care that we can't provide virtually. That we would refer them to a local place if they were in a crisis scenario, a crisis situation.
We keep our head counselor very busy with crisis.
That's a good, it's a good thing to put out there. You don't want people to log on and think that you're a crisis center, call and be like, oh, well, they decided not to help me, and that's not the case. It's that you're just not set up for it right now.
We're not, yeah.
We're constantly connecting and networking with other organizations that might have those abilities so that we have a backfill repertoire of like places we can go to if someone needs help that we can't offer. Because the last thing we ever want to say to a veteran or an active duty member that comes to us for help is, oh, sorry, that's not in my wheelhouse. Go find something else.
Yeah.
Or, sorry, I can't help you. That's never an answer.
I'm almost afraid to ask, but have you guys seen an uptick this year because of COVID?
Yes and no. Would you say yes and no to that, Mike?
I'd say yes and no. I'd say the last.
I don't think we can quite say because with COVID, like we only started just before COVID, so we can't really say if it's because of COVID or if it's just that.
So you're just seeing what because of the time frame that you start. Yeah, so that's
and getting our name out more and things like that. You know, last spring I really struggled with. We weren't getting very many people, and I was concerned because of COVID, because you guys are told don't isolate. And what's COVID doing? Isolate. You know, I lost a lot of night's sleep because I'm like, you know, I just want to save everyone. But with that said, our name is getting out there now. You know, we had someone say that we were just found from a Google search. You know, we don't know what they searched, but that's absolutely amazing.
I will say that's how I found you guys. That was honestly how I found you guys. I looked up veteran organizations in my area, and I live in New Jersey, and you guys showed up. You guys were like one of the first things, so I was like,
that's fantastic.
That's awesome.
And I have an awesome connection for you guys. We actually have a young lady, well, I don't know how young she is, but she is a lady in a couple of weeks that's coming on, and she is a grief counselor.
Okay.
And she actually works for my stepmother. My stepmother has her own practice as a mental health counselor, and she deals with trauma. And I would love to get you guys in connection with her.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
She is a teacher at Hofstra University, and the woman who is her grief counselor is a teacher at NYU. So they are also based in New York. They're just
right there in the home state. Can't get better than that.
Yeah, awesome. They're close, and I would love to get you guys in contact with them to see, you know, if they can do some volunteer hours.
That would be great.
Students would probably be willing to as well, because they need internships. And they need to.
So I can hear our head counselor, Cindy is her name. I hate to call her our head counselor because she's so much more than that. She has become our family. I'll probably start crying. There's so much to her.
Go for it. You're good.
Do what you need to do.
Jolee cries all the time.
I've cried like 3 times already on this podcast. Come on, Jolee, cry with me. Like, come on.
Let's cry together. Cindy is absolutely amazing, and I know that if she's watching this, shit, I totally forgot my point.
Basically, we are not in a place right now to have interns, but
thank you, Sienna.
Possible that we may.
That said, I know you weren't implying it, but we can definitely discuss options like that.
We'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll shoot emails and get everyone connected.
Because she's the expert in the field, and I'm not. I'd rather have her give a better answer.
Well, Sydney, teamwork makes the dream work. All right.
Yeah.
Get it together.
Get it.
But that's awesome.
Save some lives.
Yeah, like we said in the green room, you know, we didn't want you guys here for us. We wanted, you know, you to come on so that you can get your word out, and whatever we can do. And I've said this before too. Reach out to us. You know, hey guys, you know where we could find this, find that. We do have a lot of organizations that we've been blessed to have on the show that make a huge impact in the veteran community, literally from coast to coast and all over the world. So please don't ever, ever, ever hesitate to reach out to us. I mean, we had someone's already asking about how they could, you know, in Washington State, help paint mugs in the comments. So, you know, and after the show, don't hesitate to go on our page and connect with them. And, you know, you can still comment after this is over, but yeah, please don't ever hesitate to reach out to us, because you know, this is something that we've all, not specifically what you've been through, but we've all 3 of us have lost someone that we considered family, you know, and has unfortunately taken their own life, and it doesn't ever get easier for us. And you know, we've all dealt with, especially myself, dealt with the depression and the not knowing what was out there. So what you guys are doing is absolutely amazing, and please don't ever let anyone ever tell you any different. please, because what you guys are doing is, like us, we do this podcast, and it's, if we can get through to one person, then we can sleep easy at night. And we've always tried to keep that mentality. It's not about how many we could help. It's just, if I can get through to one, one person, I'm good.
And I want to add something really quick. You don't necessarily have to have a mental illness to go to therapy. I personally believe that everyone should go to therapy, no matter what traumas or like lack of traumas. It doesn't matter. Just to talk to someone about your week, just to talk to somebody about your month, like it helps. Like even on a, like, I don't want to say regular, but like on a regular basis. But it also helps with the people who do have more traumatic experiences. But everyone, it's not just the people who have traumatic experiences. Everyone should be in therapy.
You're absolutely right.
Just have the opportunity to talk to somebody. Yeah. Sometimes
that's all it is. It's just a little bit of conversation helps to reset everything. Mr. and Mrs. Hicks, Sienna, thank you very much for being here tonight. We will never be able to thank you enough for what it is that you're doing. And we'll never be able to properly express to you our condolences. There are very few people in this world who will ever be able to feel the same thing that you all are feeling. We thank you so much for coming out here and talking to us tonight. Rachel, is very sweet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah. We look forward to having you on again, especially hopefully Jesus Christ. I'm not a fan of the vaccine, but I hope it fucking works because I'm tired of being at home. But we are very excited to see how things are going to change in 2021 with the military going back to more in-person stuff. We want to have you back on to see how you're growing. Sienna, you better be on here talking about being on the dean's list. Otherwise, you can't come back.
And how you're going to change the fucking world. How you're going to change the world.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm working on it.
That's right. Listen, if we've said it before, we've been saying it for 10 damn years. You just need to change one person's life. Yes. And we, Jesus Christ. Thank you guys so much for being here.
We're getting choked up. This is just, you don't understand how much this does for us too.
Thank you.
But definitely, Hank, we're going to go ahead and close this out. But thank you so much, guys. Hang out after because we want to touch base and get you guys connected real quick. So we'll talk here in a minute. Guys. But thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Meg, I really wanted to make fun of you. I had a really good joke lined up too. I fucking forgot it.
All right, come on.
So
something about you being a Canadian is a dumpster fire. I don't know.
7 times. I teared up 7 times during that one. Oh, damn it.
It's like a new record.
Shut up. It's because I'm a fucking girl dad. It's like, oh yeah,
yeah, you are a girl.
We're not going to give you 1 daughter. We're going to give you 2, and then just fuck you up emotionally. Here you go.
Yeah, you couldn't even get a boy to fist bump every now and again.
I couldn't get a boy to high five or pick him up by your belt, throw him to the wall. Yeah, or just throw a football at his head randomly when he's not looking. No, I didn't get that. I got these beautiful little prissy girls, and they're like, "Daddy, I love you so much." And then they look at you the right way, and they're like, "I want a Lamborghini. Can I have a Lamborghini?" Yeah. So Michael knows what I'm talking about. Sienna pulls that crap on him. She knows she does.
Yeah. Listen, before we close out, I just wanted to remind everybody, Sienna was absolutely correct. You don't need to have a problem to go to therapy. I can't speak for Meg and Billy. I have friends, though, having only deployed to the Middle East. They go see mental health counselors just to keep everything balanced. And sometimes it's important just to go get your grief out, balance yourself out, reset everything.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you are having some extra problems or pressure, listen, frankly, some of your friends, they're not all fucking 10s. Fuck you, Justin. Leave that girl alone.
Look at me.
Leave that girl alone, Justin. If you look, not all your friends are fucking 10s. Frankly, some of them suck.
Yeah.
And you can't always talk to them all the time. And it's nice to go and zero out with somebody just to be like, you know what? I just need to get that out. I'm good. I'm right as rain again. Please keep that in mind. Billy hopefully has the ticker ready. If you do or are feeling thoughts of suicide or hurting yourself, please call the crisis line. If you're non-military, just call the regular number. If you are military, press 1 for military and veterans. It will get you connected to somebody that can help you out.
And also, Hugh, just so you know, at the bottom of hicksstrong.org, this number and
perfect
is at the bottom of their webpage also. So please check that out.
And they are very well connected. They're connected. It's not just about providing mental health. They are connected with an organization called Gummy Camp USA, or Gummy Camp for short. Gummy is Glad You Made It. They're out of Missouri. They're also connected with a wild ride called Life. The woman on here, I believe, is a suicide and assault survivor. She's prior military and a spouse and a mother. They're also connected with a company called Reformed, which is tailored towards veteran entrepreneurs. So if you need any kind of help, keep in mind some of our guests are clearly tailored to something that we are concerned about, which is veteran and military health and wellness. But that doesn't mean that that's the only thing that people can provide you help for. We are trying to build a network here. If you have help of any kind, or if you need help of any kind, and you reach out to our guest, we or they can help get you pointed in the right direction, regardless of what it is. Hicks Strong, thank you very much to the three of you for joining us tonight. We cannot tell. I will never be able to thank you all enough.
Yeah, you guys, what you're doing is it's amazing. And like I said, don't let anyone ever tell you different, because you're going to make a huge impact. Whether you see it or not, you're going to make a huge impact. So, all right, we're going to be back here on Thursday, because I got to get more fucking tissue to dry my eyes.
We'll be here Thursday. My finals are on Wednesday, so I plan on getting super Jean-Claude Van Hammered.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
I want to go back to school so I can drink.
You can just put your
my
kids
finals
in daycare.
Wednesday too.
Yeah,
No,
I know.
You and I are going to be lit Thursday.
I can't wait to be done. I'm so excited. Mazel good thing.
Oh god!
So great! I love producing the show. So much fun. Yay! Fucking
Yeah.
son of a bitch.
Everybody, thank you for being who was here tonight. Thank you very much. If you have questions or comments, be sure to comment on the video. You can also email us at libertyriskpodcast@gmail.com. We will always reach out to our guests that we had before the show, get you the answers, or we will BS one. Either way, you'll never know. But please be sure to check out our other content, and we will see you all on Thursday.
Goodbye.
And this.
Another beer.
You don't.